Welcome to Math Cafe. In this video, we are going to see the fourth part of the chapter Relations and Functions. Today, we are going to see the composition of functions. Basically, you are given two functions, or we are calculating the resultant of two functions. Say f is a function from a to b, and we have another function g from b to c. See, this is the function f from a to b, and this is a function g from b to c. What is happening is that, see, here I am taking an element x from set A, and this x element is mapped with the function f, and it will become what? F of x here. This f of x is from the set B, and this element will be inputting for the operator g. The output will be what? G of f of x. You remember, function is always an input and there will be a corresponding output. I am taking an element x from the first set and it is going through the operator f. Certainly the output is f of x, and this f of x is already in the set B, and now we are going for the operator g. Final output will be g of f of x. This idea will be represented as g composition f of x. It's a small 0, but read it as g composition f of x, and it is a function which maps from a to c. You can clearly understand the x I have taken from the set A, and it mapped to b f of x, and this f of x is from b again, and it mapped to c. This is what is called the resultant of two functions, or simply the composition of functions f and g, and denoted as g composition f. So in simple sense, what is that? Means that in function g, if you notice, clearly you can understand here what is the meaning of this composition, or how do you practically use it. That means, see, if you see in here, in g, instead of x, I have replaced what? F of x. That's the simple meaning of g of f of x. In g, the x is replaced by what? F of x. That is what is called g of f of x. Can you visualize as something like this? Can I find f of g of x in the same example? Now we are checking for the same example. Now we are going to see, can I find f of g of x with the same example? F of g of x. F of g of x means I am taking an element x from the set B. This is x from here, and it will be the operator is g here, and it becomes g of x. So we got g of x. Now what will happen? In g of x is here at c. F function is mapped from a to b. See, this g of x is not mapped to a, and so you cannot find f of g of x in this case. Hope you got the idea. Here g starts from the set B, the element from B mapped to the element of c. So it is, you already started from B, your journey, and you reached at C. And now the thing is that this set, if you want to calculate f of g of x, f must be from C. But unfortunately, f is not from C, whereas it starts from A to B and you cannot find. What is the meaning is that you cannot find always f of g and g of f. This should be always well defined. See, in the first case, what we have taken as g of f of x, in that was well defined because x I have taken from A, and my journey started from A, and I reached to B, and then B is the stopover or transit, and from B to C I have clearly I can travel because g is from B to C. A to B and B to C, that is why g composition f is defined from A to C. That is the function. So let f from A to B and g from B to C be two functions. Then the composition of f and g, denoted by g composition f, is defined as the function from A to C, and g of f of x equal to g of f of x. It just means in g, x should be replaced by f of x. And the composition of two functions is also called as resultant of a function or function of a function. For the composition of two functions to exist, it's essential that the range of f must be a subset of the domain of G, otherwise it will not work. Let us see some examples. As the functions to be well defined, it says f from R to R and G from R to R given by f of x is equal to x cube and g of x is equal to cos 3x. Now we need to find f of g of x. F of g of x can be written as f of g of x by the definition. So this will become f of, what is g of x? It is cos 3x. Now we need to find f of cos 3x. It's just like this way. Suppose if you want to find f of 1, what you will do? You know that f of x is equal to x cube. So f of 1 is clearly it is what? 1 cube. In place of x, you replace the value of 1. That's what the basic idea of value of a function. So same thing in f, x should be replaced by what? Cos 3x. Here it is x should be replaced with cos 3x. Cos 3x whole to the power 3. So that is equal to cos cube 3x. That's what our final answer. In f, x is replaced with g of x as cos 3x. So we got answer. Let us see another example. F of x is equal to 27x cube and g of x equal to x raised to 1 by 3. Find g composition f. G composition f of x will become g of f of x. This is g of, what is f of x? F of x is equal to 27x cube. Now we need to find g of x. So g of x is what? Again compare that value. G of x is x to the power 1 by 3 or cube root of x. Now think like this way. If it is g of 8, what I will do? I will consider as 8 to the power 1 by 3. So if it is g of math, it will become what? Math to the power 1 by 3 or cube root of math. X must be replaced by the number whichever is existing here. So this will be simply 27x cube all to the power 1 by. Clearly cube root of 27x cube root of 27 is 3, and this will become what, or you can write here for simplification, 3 raised to 3 x cube raised to 1 by 3. This is 3x. Suppose if you want to get the other way now, maybe f composition g of x. This will become f of g of x. F of, what is g of x? X to the power 1 by 3. Now this means f of g of x means in f, x must be replaced by g of x. F of x is 27x cube. So this is 27 into, instead of x, this is x to the power 1 by 3 whole to the power 3. So it is 27x. F of g of x and g of f of x, both we have calculated. Let us see the third example. This usually either 1 mark type questions or 2 marks. But this is practically very useful in the next part of the chapter. That is, you need to practice questions from this section. I want to get g composition f of x. This is g of sin x. So g of sin x means what? G of x is x square. So this will become sin x the whole square or sin square x. Now f of g of x, the second one. So f of g of x means this is f of g of x, and that gives you f of x square. Now again, what is f of x square? Sin x. So f of x is sin x. This is what f of x. So now you are looking for f of x square. So the x must be replaced with what? X square value. So this is sin of x square. We got g of f of x and f of g of x. Let us see another example. This is one of the board questions repeatedly asked. Find g of f and f. This is another way of asking the question. Sometimes the question will say just g of f and f of g. When you calculate, clearly you should take g of f of a variable, because you need an input always to get the value. G of f of x means g of f of x. This is g of, what is f of x? It is modulus of x. Now what is g of x? See, if you notice, g of x is 5x minus 2 the whole modulus. Now if it is g of 1, what we will do? Modulus of 5 times 1 minus 2. The same thing will apply here also. This x should be replaced with what? Modulus of x. 5 times mod x minus 2. Hope you got it. The x must be replaced by the input, which is modulus of x. 5 times mod x minus 2. That's what our answer. Let us see the other now. f of g of x. This is f of g of x. This is f of, what is g of x? Modulus of 5x minus 2. This is, again you can compare with the, see, this is the best way to check whether you are going correct or not. That's why I'm writing this working column here in that part. So now we are looking for f of x. What is f of x? Modulus of x. Now think like this way. If I am finding f of 2, what I will write? I will write the 2 within the modulus. So if I am finding f of sine x, it will be within the modulus sign, x must be replaced with the sine x. So same thing, here you have whatever value they are coming, that you should write within the modulus. So I wrote the modulus first, then modulus of 5x minus 2. This is actually double modulus. Modulus itself is positive, so you don't want to write twice the modulus sign. So you can just stop like 5x minus 2 and that's your answer. This all came in the examination. Repeatedly asking question, simple, easy to score the marks. Let us take one question. This also repeatedly asked in the board exam. Here there is a small difference. See, this question is f of x is equal to 3x square minus and g of x is x by x square plus 1 and you need to find g composition f. Here it is g composition f of x means g of f of x. This is f of x is equal to g of 3x square minus 5. Now what is g of x? X divided by x square plus 1. Right? That is g of x. Now what is x here? 3x square minus 5. This is 3x square minus 5 whole divided by 3x square minus 5 the whole square plus 1. So that you can simplify and leave it. This is 3x square minus 5. So 9x to the power 4, 2ab, 30x square plus 25 plus 1, 26. This is another type of example. More easier questions here. Say here the function is given 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 5 and g from 1, 2, 5 to 1, 3 and given by the condition 1, 2, 3, 5, 4, 1, etc. Now write down g composition f. So when you say g composition f, so first thing better to check this is a, b and this is what b, c, and you know that g composition f will be from here what? We're taking first element from f from a to b and g from b to c. So this is from a to c. Here you need to check which and all values required to calculate. That is why we are looking. This function is mapping from where to where. Here we need to calculate the function g composition f from where to where. That's what we are trying to identify. See, f is from a to b. You reached already b. And from b to c, that is why it is a to c. You are supposed to calculate the value of this function. You are inputting the value as from a, that is 1, 3, 4. First g of f of 1. So g of f of 1. What is f of 1? See, look at here. This is what? F of 1 is equal to what? 2, right? 1 means the image is 2. So g f of 1 is what? 2. This is g of 2. Now what is g of 2? Look at the g function. When you are inputting, your output is 3. So it is 3. Now let us see for the next value. What is the next value for the set A? 3. So g of f of 3. So it is g of f of 3. Again, look at the question. The function f, image of 3 is which number? That is 5. So it will become g of 5. Now what is image of 5 in g function? G of 5. 5 maps to 1. So it is 1. Now the last element of set A, it is g of f of 4. So it is g of f of 4, that's equal to g of the 4 maps to 1. So it is g of 1 and 1 maps to what? 3. So do we have to find any other element? No. Why? Because in set A we have only 3 elements which are 1, 3 and 4. That's what we are using. Now therefore your final answer will be g of f will be equal to 1, 3. When you input, the output was 3. Whereas when you done the input as 3, your output was 1. And when you put 4, you got the value as 3. So this is your final answer. Let us see some other example. Here again the question given another different way. This is more like easier than the other one. Here already the values are given straight away. Again same thing. First we need to check f is from say a, b and this is b, c. You need to find g composition f. So f maps from a to b. You reach at b and g map from b to c. Clearly it is a to c. You need to find g of f of each value of the set A. Set A has first of all 2, so it is g of f of 2, and f of 2 is what? Look at the question, it says 3, so g of 3 equal to, what is g of 3? That is 7. Now we need to go for g of f of 3, that is g of f of 3, and that is g of, what is f of 3 again? Look at the question, it says 4, and g of 4, and g of 4 is again 7. Now if I consider next value, g of f of 4, we need to calculate. This is g of f of 4, and f of 4 is same as 5, and g of 5 is 11. Now the last element, g of f of 5, that is g of f of 5, and g of f of 5 is given as again 5, so and g of 5 is also 11. All the elements we have taken already, 2, 3, 4, 5 from set A, and see all the elements, this 7 and 11 are already in the set C, so this function is well defined, and the final answer is G composition f will be equal to set 2, 7, 3, 7, 4, 11 and 5, 11. That's our final answer. Let us see another question. This also many times came in the board exam. It's here f of x is given 3 minus x cube raised to 1 by 3, and you need to find f of x. This is f of x means f of x. F of, what is f of x? 3 minus x cube to the power 1 by 3. Again we need to calculate f of x. F of x is the whole thing. There are different ways of doing. One way, you can assume that this whole thing is now x. The whole expression is x. Now in f of x, the x should be replaced by the whole expression. And we know f of x is 3 minus x cube all to the power 1 by 3. Now assume that this is simply some letter capital A for your convenience. So what will happen? Now you are putting f of A. So f of A means what will happen? It will become 3 minus a cube all to the power 1 by 3, right? Just writing this as an f of A, it is 3 minus a cube all to the power 1 by 3. Now 3 minus, what is A? A I have taken as 3 minus a cube raised to 1 by 3, this whole thing, the highlighted one. So 3 minus x cube all raised to 1 by 3. And again what will happen? This x cube it is there, sorry a cube, this whole cube. And again everything within the bracket 1 by 3. I repeat, this 3 minus x cube I have taken as an A. So that is why it came 3 minus a cube all to the power 1 by 3. I am replacing the value of A. A is 3 minus x cube raised to 1 by 3. That's what I wrote in red. Then A raised to 3, all 3 and all raised to 1 by 3. You can directly write, no objection, but if you have confusion, it is better to write separately to avoid errors. That's why I written this. So now this clearly, this powers you can cancel 1 by 3 and 3. That will become 1. Now 3 minus x cube raised to 1 by 3. Now this 3 and 3 get cancelled. So x cube raised to 1 by 3, which is equal to x. That is our final answer, and it is equal to x. Let us see another typical question, generally objective type question, which you can likely to get in the board exam. F of x is equal to mod x and g of x is equal to greatest integer part of x. Both are defined from real number to real number. What will be f of g of negative 3 by 2? This f of g of minus 3 by 2. This could be written as f of g of minus 3 by 2, and that will be same as what is g of minus 3 by 2. Look at that, this is g of minus 3 by 2 means it will become f of greatest integer part of negative 3 by 2. See, this is negative 3 by 2 and this side is negative 1 and negative 2. Clearly, the greatest integer which does not exceed negative 3 by 2 is negative 2. Hope you remember the greatest integer part idea. This will become f of negative 2. If you think negative 1 is right, please check. Negative 1 is greater than negative 3 by 2. So it cannot be true. That is why integer part of negative 3 by 2 is negative 2. Now f of minus 2. or f of negative 2, that will become modulus of minus 2, that is equal to 2. This is one of the good question you can get in MCQ or in one mark type question. Let us see the second part. Second part says g of f of minus 3 by 2. This will become g of f of minus 3 by 2, and that will be g of, what is f of minus 3 by 2? It is modulus of minus 3 by 2. G of modulus of minus 3 by 2 means g of 3 by 2. Modulus of minus 3 by 2, positive 3 by 2. Now g of 3 by 2. This will become greatest integer part of 3 by 2. 3 by 2, that is 3 by 2 and then 1 and 2. The greatest integer not exceeding 3 by 2, that means 1.5, not exceeding 1.5, the integer value will be 1. So that's the final answer. This is one small topic, composition of functions. I made it as a separate video because you want to get the idea very well. I am adding the gist of this topic, whatever we have explained, with all the possible results. You can go through it, keep a snapshot. Thank you for watching Math Cafe. Please like, subscribe and share. Thank you, and we'll see again with the next topic, invertible functions, and how do you find the inverse of a given function, one of the most important topic from this chapter. Thank you.